What's up, everyone? All right, so here we are finishing the week, Friday, up $568. This is not a home run trade. It wasn't a huge day. I think it was only 3 individual trades. I had one winner, one loser, and then a small kind of $250 winner. So, not a lot of love in the market today. It was very slow. But I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back because I didn't push it. I didn't overstay my welcome. I responded to the market. And it's very easy to say, well, I trade with 15,000 shares. I'm gonna keep being aggressive. But today wasn't a day to be that aggressive. Today wasn't a day where we were seeing home runs. And if I had kept pushing, I would have definitely finished in the red. And the same is true yesterday. So 2 back-to-back days where I strengthened that muscle of discipline. Remember that it's a muscle. It's not like you learn discipline and you have it forever, like learning to ride a bike. You can have discipline for a period of time and then you can get really complacent and it's gone. So, constantly working to strengthen that muscle is important. And so these 2 days were an opportunity for me to strengthen the muscle, to be disciplined, and it'll help me, going into next week. We'll see what the market has in store for us. Maybe it'll continue to be slow. Maybe we'll bounce right back on Monday with some strong trading. So I'm up for whatever. I just need to make sure I react to the market that we're in. Trade the market we're in, not the market I want to be in. All right, so enjoy today's midday recap. Any questions, any comments, leave them below. I'll come back through and answer them later this weekend. Enjoy. All right, everyone. So we're gonna go over our trades from this morning. I was trying to do a Facebook Live, but I don't know. For some reason it didn't. I'm gonna delete this. For some reason it didn't, I don't know, stop broadcasting like halfway through. So, yeah, that's the way it goes. We'll try it again another time. So anyways, this morning, kind of a slow day, really. Just not a lot of action in the market. I came in early. I was here at 6:30 this morning. I had some other projects I was working on, and, I was like, all right, we'll see what's looking good. 7:30, nothing's on the scanner. 8:30, not much. 9 o'clock, not much. 9:15, still not much on the scanners. Time for the bell to ring, and there just wasn't a lot to trade. Today was not different from any other day where, it starts just by looking at the gap scanner. It was just that today we didn't have a lot that looked good. We had SLS, SAEX. Neither of these made big moves. SLS, I lost $700 on. I jumped into this one for the break of 2. It first popped up and hit 204, and then it faded. So I lost $700 on that one. So no follow through there. MTSL, this was continuation. So I was watching this to see if it would break over the high of 370 on the daily chart. It popped up to a high of 354, made $1,000 on it, but not much to say. It didn't hold up. And then the last one was CSLT, which I shorted. How rare, right? I don't usually press the short button, but on this one, it's a 5-cent tick stock. It popped up here. It was doing a micro pullback, and I just sort of expected it to fade and do a false breakout. So I shorted this one at $5.50 right here, and I covered it as it dropped down to $5.35, $5.40. So a $240 winner there, and boom, just like that, $568. So another green day. I'm happy with that, but today was just not a lot of follow through. So what I'm glad about is that I didn't overstay my welcome. I didn't push it. I was very quick to say, market doesn't feel super hot today. I'm gonna go easy. $500 a day. That's a good day. Certainly not as good as making $8,000 on Wednesday and $7,500 on Monday or $4,300 on Tuesday, but it's a good day. And so right now I'm finishing the week up right around $20,000. $20,000 in 5 days of trading. Can't complain about that. So, if I can keep that going next week, I'm going to be finishing July in really good shape. I'm sitting right now around $42,000 or so on the month, and the goal would still be to be around the $50,000 minimum this month. If I can get closer to 60, that'd be good. So I really only need to make another $10,000 to hit my monthly minimum. And, I know this probably seems crazy, $50,000 a month. What's the matter with this guy? But, the reality is there was a time when my goal was $1,000 a month. and then it was 3,000 a month, and then 5,000 a month, and then it was 10,000 a month. And then after a while, I was consistently making 10,000 a month. So it was 20,000 a month. And then all of a sudden, I realized I'm consistently doing 30, 40,000 a month. So you just keep, the bar just keeps going up. It's just that's the funny thing about trading. So, once you get it, you get it. A lot of people learning to trade, they'll have this period where they're kind of struggling. And it's kind of like, I'm at this point where, my profits are like this, it's just up and up and up and up. But for a long time, traders will go through this sort of up and then back down, and then up and then back down, up and down, up and down, up and down, and just kind of doing this, basically going sideways for what can last for years. I mean, this is what it was like for me. I was going sideways for years until I figured out, what was holding me back. And then I broke out, and since then it's been up. So the trick is trying to figure out, what's the difference between a trader who's consistently making money and the ones who are just going sideways. What am I doing wrong? What's holding me back? What was holding me back was mostly trading bad quality stocks. I would take 15 trades a day, and of those 15, maybe 2 were good quality trades, and the rest were junk. And so once I realized that, I cut out all the junk and took just the 2 to 3 trades a day that were actually good quality, and suddenly my profits changed. Suddenly I started actually making money. Even though I was trading less, I was trading better quality stocks. And it didn't mean I didn't have losses sometimes, I still did, but my accuracy was higher and my profit loss ratios were better. And trade the best, leave the rest. Now today's a day where I didn't trade a lot, only 15 trades. I had a day earlier this week where I had like 150 trades. So, and I made $8,000 on that day. That day there was a lot happening, but today the market was a little slower. And so being able to have the discipline to adapt to that type of market is also really important. If you try to force it on a bad day, you're going to lose money. Today's a day where if I had kept trading, I most likely would have lost money. So I saw a couple other stocks hit the scanners. What was the last one? This lower float DHCP. Let me pull this up. DHCP. So let's look at that for a second. So this one hit the scanners. And this made honestly, this is a pretty nice move from 550 up to 620, all the way up to 760. When this made the move, I pretty much already called it a day. What time was this? It was 11:17 when it took off. So at this point, I was already done for the day. But you can see micro pullback, micro pullback, micro pullback, and then finally a top, a false breakout, and then a fade back down. So you've got 1, 2, the first and second pullbacks, clean opportunities. The only thing that would have made me a little nervous on this was that the volume was so light. It looks like it was halted on a circuit breaker. It dropped back down, then it curled up. And when it was halted, it probably only had like 50,000 shares of volume, but new traders came in for the high day break. It popped up to 650, consolidation, popped up 660, 670, right? Nice big move there. So, some nice opportunities on it, but, for me, nothing indicated that we would have that type of opportunity today. And this morning, we didn't see hardly anything on the scanners. This was really the only stock that looks good. Everything else just was slow. CLST, not much there. So just kind of a slow day. If you ended up sticking around and making some money on DHCP, good job for that. I left that one alone, and I don't really regret it. I think that was probably the right move. So anyways, finishing the morning, $568, another green day of trading, up 42,000 on the month, over 350,000 on the year, and I'm sitting at $694,000 of profit in the account that I started with $583 a year and a half ago. So I am 69% of the way there to my $1 million challenge. I mean, you think about that. It's just like doing a master's degree. I mean, it's like a 2-year-long journey, and it's such a commitment, just emotionally, just to have such a long, to set out. I'm going to start with $583 and turn it into $1 million. if anyone starts that today, they know they're starting out on a multi-year type of adventure, and there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs, but fortunately we've had more ups than downs. So, continuing to make progress, $306,000 to go. So I'm hoping I can get there by the end of this year. My entry on MTSL, I got in at, 38, 40, 41, 44, and added at 50. So I was buying as it was going up, and then I sold half at 51. I wanted to sell at 55, but I hit the bid. I just sold half at 51, and then I just kept hitting the bid. It was sluggish. It wasn't really opening up. So 12,000 shares, like 9 cents a profit. This one had the potential, I thought, if it broke over the $0.50, to break the pre-market high of 360. It needed to break 360, but it didn't. It kind of just was, heavy right here. And then that for me was the writing on the wall to start unwinding that position. 370 was the daily breakout, but we needed to first break 360, then 370, then 80, then 90, then $4, and then we had room back up to 645. So a good amount of potential on this one, and maybe it'll be in play on Monday, but today we just didn't have the momentum. So trade the market you're in, not the market you want to be in, and that's the way to do it. How many orders to accumulate 12,500 shares? 5 orders. I do 5. Every size is 2,500 shares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so 5 orders for 2,500 shares. Now, it's not to say that you couldn't type in, 5,000 shares. You could. I just choose to use smaller orders, and as I'm watching the level 2, if I'm seeing the stock moving up, I'll keep adding. Because here's the thing, there have been times where we see a hidden seller. So if I press a 12,000 share order and I realize that there's a hidden seller right here on the ask, I am going to get crushed. I'm going to lose 10 cents. I mean, it almost definitely, I'm going to lose 10 to 15 cents. So I make sure there's not hidden sellers. I want to see the time in sales is flowing. I want to see the stock moving towards the breakout spot. And as long as it still looks good, I keep adding. If it's going to go into a halt, I'll add into the halt. That for me, it's just always worked really well. The downside is the commissions right here. The upside is that this, for me, is a strategy that generates really good profit. So, commissions are just the cost of doing business, and I don't worry about them all that much. All right, so yeah, that's about it. For me, going into the weekend, feeling good. So when I'm selling, I'm using my hotkeys. So this here was just a hotkey to sell half of my position. So it's 50% of my position, whatever my position is. And then this hotkey here was to sell, again, half. So I sold half of 12,500, which was 62.50. And then I sold half of 62.50, which was 31.25. And then but I only filled 2,200 shares. So then I had a full position of 1,900 shares left. So I tried to sell it all. I only got a partial fill, and so I sold the rest. So see, that's the thing that's interesting, is this does the math for me. That's the advantage of the hotkey. I don't have to think, how many shares do I have? Oh, geez, I've got 2,270 filled, so I've got 3,125 left. By the time you do that, look, you got typos. And then that's when you get into trouble. So let the computer handle that for you. It's good at math, so I just let it handle 50% of the position, 25% of the position, whatever it is. Devin, so what causes a stock to go into a halt? Generally, when a stock squeezes up more than 10% within 5 minutes, it can get halted. Now, that's true especially from 9:45 until 3:45. The first 15 minutes, those circuit breakers are doubled. So instead of 10%, it's 20%. So the stock has to go up 20% in basically less than 5 minutes, almost immediately spike up. And then a stock can get halted. So that's what happened on DHCP. It spiked up. If we go back to the 1-minute chart, you'll see that basically in one candle, and this is always a little suspicious, but in one candle it spiked from $5.60 all the way up to $6.24. Okay, so more than 10%. It's halted for 5 minutes. It resumes trading at 11:24, and it hits a high of 6:30, and then it drops to 6:10. But if it dropped 10%, it would have gotten halted going down. But it didn't. It dropped just a little bit, and then it curls back up, blasts through the high over 630. That's where fresh buyers come in. That's where short sellers cover. Squeezes up to a high of 650. Little pullback, then it keeps going, keeps going. Now, even though it kept moving, remember, it has to go 10% from the average price of the last 5 minutes. So the average price from the last 5 minutes is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The average price is like right here. So now it needs to go up 10% from here. All right? So it didn't do it. And then by the time it hit it right here, well, now it's the average price of the last 5 minutes. So the average is now right here. So it needs to go here. So you see how the average price keeps moving up. So it really needs to go almost straight up in order to get halted. So we don't see them on every type of, on every stock or every momentum trade. So there's not really a technical indicator on our charts for when a stock will get halted. And what's also, this kind of throws a wrench into things. There are times where we think a stock probably should get halted or will get halted, and then it doesn't. It squeezes up, 50% and it's not halted, and we're just scratching our heads like, what's going on? So it's a little bit of a mystery, but generally speaking, around 10% to 20% is where we can see circuit breaker halts. All right, so good question there. All right, Dan, how do I recognize a hidden seller? So the way I can usually recognize, just look at this stock here. See at 28, you see it, okay, so this one's okay. But if we see a lot of, right now this shows 100 shares or 1,500 shares. So if you saw a 10,000 share buy order go through and it's still showing 1,500 shares, that tells you this is a hidden seller. Because even though someone just bought 10,000 shares, it didn't buy up the shares that are visible for sale. So that's when we know there's a hidden seller. We're seeing the buying going through, but the price isn't moving. So all that green there, no hidden seller because the price just moved up. So that's fine. We're sitting at 30. That's what you like to see. No issue there. But when there's lots of green going through and the price isn't moving, that's a hidden seller. Actually, that's not actually a good example. I was going to say, I can show you this example of a trade from the other day. This isn't actually an example of a hidden seller, but it's kind of similar. Hang on, let me just drag this up here. So this is, we're going to be watching MTSL. And you're going to notice that as we come up to 350, that there's a big seller. All right, so I'm up 7,400 on the day here. So see it's popping up. Looks good. Whatever, I screw up something there with the window by accident. So I add going into the $0.50, and then it dips down, a little false attempt. Okay, so watch what happens at the $0.50. Okay, so that's obviously a really big seller. Someone is selling 100,000 shares. So it's not a hidden seller in this case, right? A hidden seller is when you see all the buying that we're going to see in a second, but the price doesn't move. So it's just showing, let's say, 700 shares. It's not showing, 70,000. And you're like, why isn't the price going up? There's all these orders going through, but the price isn't going up. It's someone's hiding the share. Now, the only reason to me someone would actually show 100,000 shares is if they're trying to scare the market and get people to, not buy or bail out. Because showing a 50,000 or 100,000 share sell order creates a clear level of resistance. Usually people don't buy into it. Now, I did because look at what happens. When it goes down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it'll snap. That almost always happens. So that's what I was playing off of, is that this would snap, and that if perhaps this was someone shorting the stock and trying to be super bearish, that maybe they would get squeezed and they would have to cover if this thing squeezed up to break the high the previous day, which was in the 70s. But we ended up hitting resistance at 70, which was the level we still couldn't break today. So watch this, 41. All right, so 41, 38, 31, 18, boom, boom, boom. See how fast that breaks? Just like that, and boom, it's up 10 cents. So I always try to sell just really quickly like that, and capitalize on that quick breakout. It's a setup we see a lot. But a hidden seller would be where you see all that buying that you're seeing right here, but the price isn't breaking. And you're not seeing the seller here. So you're just seeing all the buying, but you're like, what's going on? That's when you know there's a hidden seller. So, a hidden seller eventually will break. It's just a matter of, are there enough buyers to buy up those shares? Because sometimes there are, sometimes there aren't. I would say in the last couple weeks, I don't know if my average winners are smaller or not. Today, yeah, definitely, and yesterday for sure. But in general, over the last couple weeks, I don't know. We've seen a couple really nice winners, like that $8,000 day. I needed some big winners to get there. So no, I think we've been seeing still pretty good winners. I don't know. It has been a little choppy on some days. So anyways, that's about it for today. Midday market recap. Another green day. Feel good about that. And we'll be back at it first thing Monday morning. Pre-market analysis around 9:15. So I encourage you guys to study up this weekend, study the big momentum trades from this week, go rewatch the midday market recaps from the whole week, study those charts because Monday morning will be here before you know it, and you want to make sure you can capitalize on the opportunities. All right, so I'll see you guys all back here first thing on Monday morning. Enjoy the weekend. If you're still watching, you must have really enjoyed that video. So why not subscribe and get email alerts anytime I upload new content? Remember, when you subscribe, you become a member of the Warrior Trading family.